forecast for the week of January 7th, 2025. Quite a week coming up. We have the Aquarius new moon, we have a Uranus station, we got some other aspects going on. Let's take this one little bit at a time, although the Aquarian theme is really rocking around this week, so we want to keep that in mind. All right, let's think about this. First thing that happens on the 27th is that Mercury enters the sign of Aquarius. Now, Mercury loves to be in Aquarius. It is his exaltation sign. If we want to go that exaltation route, it's the exaltation sign of Mercury, the planet of thinking and communication, very happy in the big picture sky sign of Aquarius. Another air sign works out very, very well. So that's very positive, good for communication, good for getting a clear message across. Well, okay. What's the first thing that Mercury does? He's got to meet with Pluto. Like everybody else, when you get into Aquarius, you got to meet with Pluto. That's the first thing that's on the agenda. So Mercury is there, ready to start talking, and boom, he hits Pluto. Now, Pluto is really strong, planet of transformation, death and rebirth, and all this type of thing. Pluto in Aquarius is raking hell. But at the same time, Mercury is very strong in Aquarius. And so Mercury communication, mass communication, actually, in Aquarius, meets up with Pluto. We have the speaking truth to power aspect. But, for years, since 2008 or so, Mercury met with Pluto in Capricorn, and it was always speaking truth to the structures of power, to the government, the institutions, and so on. Now Pluto is in Aquarius, and Mercury meets Pluto in Aquarius, and it's a very, very different feel. It's not one that is about speaking truth to the power structures. It is about speaking truth to the masses or from the masses. The message is likely to get out. Very, very important thing. The message is likely to get out. A good message or not, it's hard to say. But Mercury is not likely to be stifled in the sign of Aquarius as he might have been in the past. It took a little. I think I would always describe in years past when Mercury met with Pluto in Capricorn. It was like Davy and Goliath kind of situation. David and Goliath, Davy and Goliath being the somewhat cheesy, Gumby-like cartoon from the 1960s. That's another story. And it makes good sense of the David and Goliath. I mean, Capricorn is stones and everything like that. But here in Aquarius, I think that there's a different feel to it. I think that Mercury is a little bit stronger. And there's a supportive aspect that comes in just a day later, because Mercury meets with Pluto on the 28th. And then as very early on the 29th, we also have Pallas Athene, the truth teller asteroid, right? Remember, Pallas Athene is out there delivering inconvenient truth, is trying to Uranus, and Uranus is out in Taurus. Well, that matters, but hold on to that for a second. But Uranus, revolution, breaking the mold, change, empowering Pallas Athene. So we have both Mercury and Pallas Athene, two truth tellers, recently conjoined back last week. They conjoined in Capricorn and got quite a bit of energy from this whole crowd as well. Now they're both individually catching these very powerful aspects. And the message can get out. The message can get out at this point in time, especially because Uranus is so very, very strong right now. Now, Uranus stations to go direct on the 30th, right? The 30th? Yeah, the 30th, early on the 30th if you're in the US. And the Aquarius new moon is on the 29th. So we have really contrasting energies here. We have the quiet of the new moon on the one hand, and we have the kind of rambunctious energy of Uranus stationing on the other. This is all going down. This is, let's say, Wednesday, Thursday. Really, I think the Aquarian Uranian energy is just sort of smeared across the entire week. Uranus will be stationing at 23 degrees of Taurus. And like last week, when we had all of the action happening around 23 degrees of various signs, if you have personal planets or points at 23 degrees, you're very likely to feel this energy, have been feeling this energy, and will feel this energy very strongly as we go forward. This is a powerful, powerful energy, and it's going to hit everybody, but it's really going to hit you if you have something at 23 degrees. So look to see what that thing is, and really just imagine that it's energized. Whatever is at 23 degrees in your chart is energized. If you don't know your chart, you should contact an astrologer and they'll do your chart for you at a very good price. Anyways, I digress. The quiet of the Aquarius new moon. Well, it's not the quietest new moon that there is, but new moons are always fairly quiet. That is at 9 degrees, almost 10 degrees of Aquarius, and that happens very early. It happens at about 6. It happens at 7:30 in the morning, Eastern time, which puts it someplace around noon, UK, Ireland, and it puts it back around 4:30 a.m. on the 29th if you're on the west coast of the US. Everybody else figure it out for yourself. Not hard. Not that easy, but it's not that hard. We're all on standard time now for a few last minutes. Anyway, the time of the new moon is not really too important because you don't want to do much at the new moon. Now, this Aquarius new moon is a good time for setting long range goals and objectives, right? Big picture stuff. Where do I want to be? What do I want to connect with over the course of the next year, over the next 2 years? Well, but idealistically, big, long range, what would I really like life to look like? What would I really like life to look like in a year or two? Long range. It's pretty long range by our standards these days. So, um, which is fine, which is fine. I'm not inclined to have a 5-year plan myself, so it's you just take it as you go. But if you have that kind of vision of what you'd like life to be like, and especially with Aquarius, if there are folks that you'd like to connect with, if there are groups out there that you think, oh, I'd really like to have folks that share my passion about, and in this case, more idealistic things to do with spirituality, things that have to do anything with metaphysics, astrology, that kind of thing that go well. But also groups within your profession and so on that you might want to connect with. Very, very good time to be thinking about that. And then, as always, about 12 hours after the new moon, you can start to really set intentions. Sometime between 12 and 24 hours, you have plenty of time. And then a couple of days later, I'm guessing probably sometime around Friday, when the moon is in the sky, the little crescent moon is visible in the sky, maybe Thursday, I don't know. Then it's time to take a little bit of action. Take a little bit of action. Just have to just do an internet search for what's interesting to you. That's all you really, really need to do. But you should do a little something because the cosmos responds to actions more than well, at least as much as it does to words, more than it does to words. So do something. That's kind of like the first thing that is like got to be in there. So your long range stuff, just take a long range look at things and then take a little bit of action. Of course, you'll be doing that very close to the Uranus station. And here's the thing, the new moon is a settle down internal time for contemplation, meditation, and then slowly get into action. And here we have the Uranus station, which is very, very popping. It's very, very exciting. And so the feeling is like, like a jack in the box, really. It's very Uranian. Everything is quiet, 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 and then comes out. And I think that that's you could use that energy. You could use that energy, the sense that, you want to set the intention, you want to at least, you have to have an intention, you have to have like a little set of where you are with things. And then that Uranian energy just gets you moving quickly. And that, the Uranus station then is going to be on Thursday. So we feel that energy though, Wednesday, Thursday, and coming into Friday. And Uranus stations are times when we really feel the need to do our own individual thing. We really feel the need to go our own way. It's a time for asserting individuality. I think it was Gandhi who said, "Be the strange you want to see in the world." Well, he said something like that. But it's the point, it's you break the mold. It's a time for breaking the mold. It's a time for doing your own thing. It's a time for going off of the script, right? We want to go off script with Uranus stations. I got to record the video for next week on the Uranus station. That'd be fun. Be the strange you want to see in the world, right? Go off script. Don't play into the usual routines. If you have to be somewhat arbitrary, right? Midweek, end of the week, if you got to be somewhat arbitrary, be arbitrary. Be arbitrary. If you're really following your own lodestar, that's so much the better. So the star card in tarot is very much associated with Uranus. It's one of the cards that's associated with Uranus. Um, but follow your own star. But if all you can do is just break out of routine and just do something different for the sake of doing something different, don't get a tattoo. Don't get a tattoo. But if you want to get a haircut, it's okay. Um, do something different. Dress differently. Go to a different place to get your morning coffee. Whatever it is, break up things from their usual routines. That's really, really a great way to take advantage of this Uranian energy. It's not so much about this is what we do all the time and this is so much better, right? It's not about that. It's about learning to shift between different possibilities. That's what Uranus is trying to teach us. My favorite analogy, if you're a client, you've heard this before when you had a Uranus transit, is it's like we watch channel 2 all the time and we think it's great. And then somehow or another, the channel gets switched off to channel 4. This is like in the old days, there was a change to channel 4. And you all of a sudden describe there's a whole new series of programs and network thing going on channel 4. And you go, this is great. And then maybe it switches over to channel 7 and then 5. The whole point isn't really, and maybe you go back to 2 after a while. It's not about which is the best station. It's about learning to move between the possibilities. And that is what we're really trying to learn this week, to move between the possibilities, right? We're stuck, right? On the collective level, we're stuck. And for many of us individually, I can see we're also stuck. And the way that we're going to get out of being stuck is to break out of the routines, break out of the box that you think you have to be in. Go out of your comfort zone. Go out of your freaking comfort zone. I have a Cancer moon. I know about comfort zone. Break out of your comfort zone. Go past your comfort zone. Put your toe outside of it and see what you get. If you have to run back in, you run back in. But at least you made a little foray outside. That's the energy of this week. That's a great way to embody the Aquarius new moon. It's a great way to embody the Uranus station. It works very well with Mercury Pluto, right? So you sort of shoot your mouth off to say something that's a little bit unusual. That's very Mercury Pluto in Aquarius as well. So this is sort of the theme for the week, right? You're going to break out of the box. You're going to do your own thing. Be the strange you want to see in the world. Now, as we get towards the weekend, the vibe shifts a little bit. There's a lot of nice energy that I feel kind of softly massages things in a nice direction, particularly if you have anything going on with relationship or something along those lines, as Venus, the planet of love and desire, and Juno, the planet of the asteroid of technical here, the asteroid of partnership, commitment, are in harmonious relationship with each other. That doesn't happen too often. It's kind of like what you want and what you got can be on the same page. Meanwhile, the sun and Jupiter get into a nice relationship to each other. And that's nice. That's a nice aspect with Jupiter out there in Gemini and the sun in Aquarius. Right, this is an opportunity for us to it helps us to go and expand and try new things. It'll help that breaking out of the box and by offering opportunities. By offering opportunities, it's it's good to have the intention, and then here come the opportunities. So that's a good thing. Venus then on the weekend goes on to conjunct Neptune. She has her annual meeting with Neptune. And this would be the aspect of the week on any other, well, on some other on some other weeks, this would be the aspect of the week. Venus together with Neptune in Pisces. There is I mean, it's a romantic kind of aspect, I suppose would be a nice way to put it. This is on Saturday. It's a romantic kind of aspect. It's very creative. It is very creative. And if you don't have anything going on in that department, that's fine. Well, you should have something going on in the area of creativity. If you have anything going on in the area of romance, that's okay. It's a great time for appreciating the aesthetic of things. Listen to some music. I'm thinking that like 19th century romantic music, that not romantic like, but like the romantic era, um, that kind of long flowing symphonies that kind of go nowhere. Perfect for this. Or you can be a little bit more contemporary. I would think, Pink Floyd, or, if you're into Led Zeppelin, they have a couple of albums there where there's like this one song on a whole side, something along those lines, just something that you can get lost in. Just get lost in the aesthetic of it. Wonderful if you're into visual arts, wonderful time to take up with some cool visual stuff, or watch a movie. I guess a romantic movie would work fine. Castaway, the Tom Hanks movie, would be perfect. Although you got to watch out what you're in for with that. Um, but that kind of thing would go very, very well. At any rate, the point is that there is a lot of this kind of like, emotional flowing aesthetic energy there. And often I'll tell you to go take a walk and get lost in the woods, or don't get lost in the woods, but get lost in the city. You find your way back. Be careful where you go. But this is a little bit more aesthetic. It's a little bit more, what you're looking at, a little bit more like, so if it's not your creative project, at least it's somebody's that you're getting a look at. Mercury is going to come into alignment. There's a little bit more for next week, but Mercury is going to catch up to the sun and catch up to where the sun was and come into alignment with Jupiter. And that's another opportunity to express ourselves. That'd certainly be strong towards the back end of the weekend. That's a Sunday kind of thing. That's February 2nd. That's Groundhog Day, which is midwinter for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. Although I believe that in some places, I think Ireland and maybe the UK, and somebody have to fill me in on this, but Ireland, I know that they tend to consider February 2nd as being the beginning of springtime, which you get. I don't know that I could say that the evidence is there for it, but the sentiment, I'm definitely on board with that. But it is the middle of winter in terms of the distance between the solstice and the equinox. We've come a long way from the solstice. You can certainly see here at 41 degrees north latitude, you can certainly see that the days are longer on both ends, and I like that a lot. I'm very, very excited when the days get longer on both ends. And what we used to have the sun setting around 4:20, and now it's making it almost to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You're thankful for small things. It's still pitch dark at 7:30 at night, but We can feel that light returning. And although Mars is retrograde, Mars is still retrograde, and there's a few things that are putting a drag on the beginning part of this year, no matter how, all the Uranian energy and everything notwithstanding, you can kind of feel this movement of, coming out into the new year. It's Chinese New Year. So, that's another opportunity for celebration. And particularly if you're Chinese. But it's another marker of a new year, and it's pretty cool if you think about it. I'm getting a little bit long over here in the talk, but if you think about it, it's kind of neat that they put the new year on the new moon that comes after the solstice, or maybe the second new moon after the solstice. But the idea is let the light grow a little bit from the darkness of the solstice, right? We'll have our new year, but when we can actually see that it's starting to feel new. I think Chinese New Year is the new year, and there's many, many New Year celebrations, right? We have our January 1st New Year. We have the astrological New Year in March. I'm going around a dial over here. There is the Jewish New Year in September. And that's the Chinese New Year. They do a pretty good job with that, I think. There's like, let's start the new year, when it really feels like the light is growing. Anyways, that's for your contemplation. Um, Go off and do your own thing, break some rules. Don't get in trouble, but break some rules. And have a good week.